Hi, this is Diana from Yarnetti's Crochet, and I'm here to go through lesson 1 from the My Learn to Crochet series. And let's just start off with who this video was designed for. So I have some in-person students that I work with, and this video was designed for them to give them some extra support as they're learning. Other people that might be interested in this video are folks that maybe you need that extra support in learning how to tension your yarn, hold your hook, or working a half double crochet. The other group of people that might be interested in this video are crochet teachers or people that are thinking about being a crochet teacher or someone who mentors other crocheters. There's some tips and ideas in here that may be useful for you. So when you're using this video, just some other suggestions is use the timestamps. Skip to the part that the information that you need. And also, if there's a section where I'm showing you the continuous motion of a stitch and it's too fast for you, use the gear icon and select the playback speed and choose to make a slower speed for the video. That'll help you zero in on the parts that you need to see. And also, if I were a beginner, I would begin to collect videos that show me skills and techniques that I want to learn and create a playlist, because there's a lot of really good content makers out there that show how to make particular stitches, and one person's way of doing it may really resonate with you. It might be that aha moment, I finally get it. So it's nice to have lots of different creators and crocheters, examples of those things to help you. Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about is supplies. You're going to need a hook, and I recommend a Susan Bates hook, and I suggest my students get an I or 5.5 millimeter hook, and the reason is because it's an inline hook, and it is my opinion that these hooks are better at grabbing the yarn, which is something that beginning crocheters need a little bit of help with. But there's also boy hooks that are readily available out there. This happens to be, is this a vintage? Yeah, this is a vintage boy hook. This is probably made from the 1970s or 80s. But there's other hooks out there, and I would use what you have before you go out and you buy. You're also going to need some yarn, and I suggest a 4-weight medium or 5-weight bulky yarn, 100% acrylic. Get something budget friendly. I like to use Bernat Super Value with my students. It's a little less splitty than some other yarns. I do not recommend 100% cotton yarn. It can be a challenge for beginners as it does tend to split and it drags on crochet hooks, and we don't want to set our students up for more frustration than they're probably already going to experience. I suggest locking stitch markers, at least 10, 20 of those. Those are really important as you're teaching students to crochet in rows. They need to mark that beginning stitch and ending stitch so they are able to crochet the same number of stitches in each row. And I suggest a bent needle, yarn needle. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here. I also suggest they get like pouches or Ziploc bags or something for their supplies. So like I recommend a whole like quite a few stitch markers, but this is a bent needle, yarn needle. I think it's easier for beginners, and I prefer them myself to get into a stitch to weave in your ends. So let me get these out of the way. So where would I get, if I was just starting out, where would I get my yarn and my supplies? I would start local. Go to your local yarn shops first, but if you don't have one of those, a lot of the big box stores have a craft section where they have hooks and yarn. Amazon. I would check local thrift stores and garage sales. You can get really good deals. And you can get used hooks. on Etsy and eBay. And don't forget to ask friends and relatives if they want to get rid of some of their craft supplies. Sometimes people will try crochet and they're like, ugh, not for me, but they don't know what to do with their stuff. And you have an opportunity to just take that off their hands for free. As far as patterns, when you get ready to look at patterns or get inspired by things that you want to make, I would start with your local library. I would also go to yarnspirations.com with free patterns, and these patterns have been technically edited and tested, presumably. We'll talk about this later, but this is important. And I also look at Ravelry. Ravelry is a site that you need to join. It's just a fantastic resource. And just Google Ravelry in a search and you will find it, and join it for free. There's free patterns and you get to see pictures of projects that people make, and that's really helpful. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our lesson plan here. So these skills, these beginner skills, are what I consider important for beginners so that they can tackle those beginning level projects and patterns. And we're going to talk about crochet in 3 parts: tensioning the yarn, holding a hook, and working a stitch. So the way that I do that is that I start with some yarn, and we practice making a slip knot. Sorry, a slip knot. Let me get this out of the way. So the way that I do that, and there's lots of ways to make a slip knot, and there's lots of videos, so I encourage you to search. But I have the students make a circle with their yarn, cross the yarn, I'll make it a little smaller, cross the yarn, have them pinch it, drape that yarn underneath the circle, and then I have them reach in and pull the yarn while holding the 2 ends of the yarn and sticking their finger in there and just pulling the slip knot tight. So in order to change the size of the slip knot, this is your tail, this is your working yarn. So pull on your tail and you can change the size of that slip knot. You want your slip knot, I'm going to pull a little bit more, you want it to fit on your hook snugly but not too tightly. So I'm going to pull that tail even more so it's snug on my hook, but I need to be able to move my hook around inside that loop. So the next thing we're going to do is tension our yarn, and the way that I teach my students is I have them hold their hand flat, drape the yarn under the pinky. I'm going to hold this slip knot right here. Then I turn over my hand. Then I take my thumb and my middle finger and have them hold the slip knot. And I show them again where that yarn is. Now this is your tail. This is your working yarn. Working yarn is attached to your skein or your ball. This is the working yarn is attached to your yarn you're using to stitch. So I'm going to give that a little tug and allow the yarn to drape over my pointer finger. I'm going to pull that yarn so it's up over the knuckle like that. I'm going to pull my, whoops, there's my tail. I'm going to pull my working yarn just a little more so it pulls that index finger now down a little bit, still holding the slip knot with my middle and thumb. And then I have them, I want you to watch, this is your working yarn. I have them raise that pointer finger so that the yarn slides through that pinky and up around over their pointer finger. Let's pull it down again. I can even take my, let me get the tail out of the way. I can even take my pinky and grip that yarn just a little bit. Now I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. See, I moved my pinky a little. I'm going to raise my index finger and this working yarn is going to move. That's the movement you need. That's the control you need so that you can actually make stitches with your hook. This is a good thing to practice. So now the next step is to hold our hook. So we're going to insert the hook into that slip knot loop that we made. Still holding the knot itself with my thumb and my middle finger. And there's two main ways to hold your hook. There's the pencil grip, which you actually hold it like a pencil, just like if you were writing your name. Hold it like a pencil. Do you see where my fingers are kind of holding that thumb rest? Or you can hold it like a knife. And I'm going to hold the thumb rest and like you're cutting. I am a knifer. That's the way I hold my hook, so that's the way I'm going to demonstrate things in my lessons. So the next step is I'm going to pull my working yarn just to pull that finger down a little bit more. I want this yarn right here to be somewhat taut. It can't be loose or it's going to be difficult or almost impossible to stitch. So this has to be taut. So I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to show you how to do a chain stitch. So I want you to watch and see how the hook moves around, the head moves around, the place where the hooking part of the hook will grab the yarn. So I'm going to do what's called a yarn over. So we're going to put the yarn over the hook, and I'm going to turn that hook so that it grabs the yarn, and I'm going to pull it through that slip knot loop that we made before. That's one chain stitch. I'm going to hold that loop on my hook with my pointer finger, and I'm going to move my thumb and middle finger up to hold the stitch I just made. Now I'm going to yarn over again. I'm going to hold this on my hook for a little bit. Yarn over, grab the yarn, pull it through. Look how I slide the hook down on the yarn down on my hook. I give it a gentle support with my index finger. Yarn over, turn the head any way you need to grab that yarn. Pull it through. Now I'm going to do some chain stitches just in continuous motion so you can watch. And if you are like, you're going too fast, just use the gear to slow it down. But you need to see it, the continuous motion, all the things that are going on. Notice I'm moving those fingers up. Ooh, I need to move my fingers up. There we go. Now I'm going to take a look at this chain. So let me get my yarn needle out. I should have left it out. Alright, so I'm going to show you the different parts of the chain stitch. This loop on your hook, this was the loop that was on your hook. It does not count as a stitch. It's not a stitch. It's just the loop that goes around your hook. It does not count as a stitch. This is the first stitch right here. Right here. Oops, sorry. Right here. This, dear me. This is the front loop. This is the back loop. And if you turn it over, you're going to see little bumps. This is the back bump. Here's a back bump. Bump. Here's a front loop. Back loop. Back bump. That'll become more important later. I'm going to count my stitches. Remember, I do not count this loop. I'm going to count the V's So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 chain stitches. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way, and let's see where we're at here. So we've practiced the slip knot, we practiced how to hold our tension our yarn and hold our yarn, and how to hold our hook. We've worked some chain stitches, and we counted our stitches. I'm down here. Okay, here's the next part. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to learn the motion of the half double crochet stitch, but we're going to have the students work into a swatch, a prepared swatch, rather than start off with crocheting a chain and have them trying to half double crochet into the chain, because I feel they need more practice making chains in ways that are not too tight and not too loose, because I want to set them up for success when they go and they start to crochet their first rows. Okay, so what I do is I prepare a swatch, and this particular swatch has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half rows of half double crochet. So I've got 5 rows. So this would be the front of row 1, the front of row 2, the front of row 3, the front of row 4, the front of row 5, and here's the front of row 6. So I need to complete this row 6 of the swatch, and I show the students, here's the stitch, here's the stitches that you're going to be crocheting into right here. And we need to look at the top of the stitches. Just like the chains, we have a front loop and a back loop. We're going to be crocheting through both loops. So you can see, here's the front and here's the back. So we're going to put our hook on around this loop, and we're going to hold our yarn just like we did before. Be using our middle finger and thumb to hold our work. Anything we're crocheting is called the work. So instead of holding the slip knot, we're actually holding the area right where I want to insert my hook for the next stitch. So I'm going to tension my yarn a little bit, add a little bit more tension. I'm going to hold my work, and now I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to hold that yarn over on my hook with my pointer finger, and I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch. Then I'm going to grab that yarn over, yarn over, pull it back through the stitch. I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to use my pointer to kind of keep them there or slide them down. I'm going to yarn over again, grab that yarn, and now I just see how I turn the head of that hook down. I'm going to pull through all 3 loops and slide the loop on my hook down. Move my pointer and thumb down to the next stitch, yarn over. I'm going to use this to kind of hold that yarn over there until I get close to inserting the hook. Grab the yarn, pull through. I'm going to slide these down a little bit, hold them on the hook, grab the yarn and pull through. One more time, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. I'm going to complete this row in continuous motion. Use the gear to slow down if you want to see it slower. I have 2 more stitches left on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, do a half double here, and I'm going to do a half double crochet in the last stitch. If you can't do it with the stitch marker, just take it out. Just make sure you're crocheting into the stitch and not the chain, the turning chain. Now I'm going to move this stitch marker up to the last stitch I made. I can see it, it's right here. Now I'm going to turn my work. The hook goes in. Actually, I'm going to put the hook in first. Hold my yarn. Turn my work. Now I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. This is your turning chain. Does not count as a stitch in this pattern. Your first stitch is right here where the stitch marker is. Half double. Now I'm going to move this stitch marker to the first, that's the first stitch in the row. This is the chain. It's not a stitch. This is the first stitch. See the V's? Put a stitch marker right in there. And complete the row with the rest of the stitches. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly make a half double crochet in every stitch to the end. I should have 20 stitches. I should have 20 half double crochet stitches when I'm done. Slow it down if you slow the video down if you want to watch in slow motion or in slower motion. Okay, I'm getting close to the end here. Need a little more yarn. 2 stitches left. Here's the last stitch. Ooh, probably should have taken the stitch marker out. Okay. I'm gonna pull this. Pull my working yarn a little bit so I have that loop. My stitch doesn't come out. I need to mark the final stitch of the row. And there you go. There should be 20 stitches. I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm counting the V's. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yes, I have the correct number of stitches. Do you see the V's? That's what you're counting. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So we practiced the motion of a half double crochet stitch into a prepared swatch. And we counted our stitches. So we finished that lesson. So home practice, things that your students can do at home, or what I would suggest is practicing putting a slip knot on a hook and chaining for like 5 minutes a day, unless it hurts your hands. You may experience some soreness or some stiffness. It's totally normal. Or you could practice making chains of 20 stitches and deciding which one is the best. You know, which one's too tight, which one's too loose, which one's just right. And or you could continue, you could send that swatch home with your students if you're the teacher, so they could practice half double crocheting into the swatch, and encourage them, if the video that you provide for them isn't helping them, have them look on YouTube. There may be another creator that has completed this stitch in a way that just gives them that aha moment. And remember that if you're new to crochet, your students are brand new to crochet, like I said before, having stiff hands is normal. If you have pain, that's a medical issue, not to be addressed by your crochet teacher, but by a medical professional. if you are, you've got to be patient with yourself. This is a skill. It's no different than practicing when you're learning to play the piano. It's the same kind of thing. And if you feel very, very frustrated, put the hook down, try again later, or try again the next day. Don't allow yourself to get so frustrated that you want to quit. Okay, so hopefully you've learned what you need to learn and to get through that first lesson. And I encourage you to practice and be gentle with yourself. Good job. You're doing better than you think you are.